me roll my sleeves. Hey, so today we're going to be talking about pocket EQ. Pocket EQ is a technique that I like to use in order to create more separation inside of your mix. So if you're struggling to get a good separation and strong low end between your kick and your bass or any other element, your mixes don't feel wide enough, then stick around and make sure that you learn this technique, because this will open up your mixes to a whole new world of wideness and bigness that you can utilize in any single mix, in any genre, in any style that you're working with. Also, if you haven't already, there's an EQ and compression guide that you can pick up for free right below this video. The first link should be that link to the EQ and compression guide. You can pick that up for free to help you in your journey of getting professional mixes. Today we're going to be talking about pocket EQ. This is one of my favorite topics because a lot of people try to use other techniques to cover up mistakes or things that could be fixed with just a simple EQ. Pocket EQ is used specifically to create separation between tracks. Most of the time there are a lot of tracks that overlap each other in the same frequency areas. So a great example is the bass and drums, or bass and kick drums specifically, which is the example we're going to use today. Because they're both low-end instruments, first of all, there's not that much room in the low end to begin with. It's usually the traffic jam of the frequency spectrum, because especially in that space between 100 and 250 hertz, there's a lot of instruments that have their bass frequencies or low frequencies living in that area, and so it can quickly become overcrowded, and all these instruments are just masking each other, which then ends up to be a very muddy, unclear mix. So this is a way to create separation between those elements, keep both individual characteristics intact, but just enhance your mix overall to create that separation, to make it feel cleaner, overall just bigger, especially when things are panned left and right. By creating more separation between those elements, we can make our mix feel bigger than it actually even is on the stereo spectrum. That is the goal of our pocket EQ, and what we're going to do today is we're going to use the example of our kick drum and bass guitar to show you exactly how I use this technique inside of the mix. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my kick drum here and my bass bus. I'm going to use the whole bass bus. There's two tracks in here, but that doesn't really matter because they're both going to be living in the same areas. So I'm just going to play the track for you really quick so you can understand what's going on. Make sure you're listening to the kick and the bass specifically to see if you can identify really the separation between the two. Right now, it doesn't sound bad, but we can definitely enhance it with this technique. Let's listen to it really quick and then again, it doesn't really necessarily sound bad. There is some separation, but I think we can emphasize that and really bring out the best in both these elements. First is we're going to add just a normal channel EQ to both the bass and the kick. So here's my kick on the top, bass is on the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to take a normal bell. Let's do 100. We're going to change our Q to around 1-ish, and then we're going to go around and we're going to find the root frequency of the kick. Specifically because we're focused on the low end, we're going to be finding the root frequency. Other applications of pocket EQ, I will use different frequency areas, but what you really want to do is find the biggest presence for that instrument inside of the mix as a whole and enhance that, and then do the same for the other one, and then cut on the opposite. That may be a little confusing, but once you see it, I'm sure it'll make sense. I'm going to sweep around and I'm going to find the very core frequency of the kick. Yes, it's really just settling in there right around 70 hertz. So I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to only boost it. Let's do like 2.5. Normally I go up to 3 decibels with this. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the bass. I'm going to find the core frequency that the bass is generally living in and boost that. Yes, it's right around that 98 hertz range.
Again, boost by 2.5. Now I've boosted both of them. That doesn't really solve my issue. Now I'm just making the bass of the song louder. So the last step of this is to actually cut the opposite on the other instrument. So because I boosted around 69 hertz on the kick, I'm going to now, ow, no, what did I just do? Edit, redo, it looks like we're back. Now I'm going to cut the opposite of the kick. So I boosted 69 hertz. So I'm going to take my next bell, oops, 1.1, and I'm going to cut 69 hertz by about 2.5 to 3 decibels. So you should make a little curve kind of like that. And then I'm going to do the same with this guy. And so I boosted, the core was around 97. So I'm going to go to 97 and cut there by 2.5 decibels. Okay, so now you can see this is just a kind of a mirror image of each other in terms of how I'm going to EQ these. This should bring out a lot of the separation because I'm emphasizing one tiny slice of the frequency spectrum and then making room for the other element, but they're so close to each other, oftentimes we won't really be able to tell a difference with before and after for the individual instrument. But together, because we've made the opposite changes, it should create a lot of separation in that specific area. So this is great, again, for those traffic jam areas where there tends to be a lot of frequency buildup between different elements, and then we get this masking going on. This will create that separation so we can hear both elements clearly without actually impacting the tonal shaping overall of either of those instruments. So now let's listen, let's do a quick before and after. So I'm gonna start no EQ, and then I'm gonna add it in about halfway through, both in solo and then also with the mix as a whole. So it may even feel like we boosted the bass a little bit after this change, but we really didn't. These changes should offset each other in terms of overall volume. The big takeaway here is that because we've created some separation in that low end, in that bass range, we're creating more space for both those elements to live, and then therefore cleaning up the low end, and it sounds clearer, which then translates into it appearing to be louder inside of the mix. And not necessarily just louder in terms of volume, but just louder in terms of clarity and power inside of our mix. So with that said, this is exactly how you should use Pocket EQ inside of your mix. This is not limited to just the kick and the bass, even though that is one of the best examples that you have available to you that you should do almost every single time before you reach for other tools like parallel compression to try to duck the bass out of the way of the kick, etc. Thanks for watching. Make sure that you like and subscribe on this video because I'm going to be releasing videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the foreseeable future, so make sure that you are subscribed and notified of any new videos that are coming out. Thanks for watching, and have a fantastic day.